I'm at say Showtyme. Your baby mama
no time like Showtyme.
300 diamonds on me. Multicolored carrots got us still.
It ain't no time like Showtime.
I be on my shit, plus I'm putting on for my team. Riding like the clip, you can catch me on the strip. I be roasting with them old boys.
Ain't no time like Showtime.
You know I'm a old boy.
Yo, white son.
Ain't no time like Showtime.
Ain't no time like Showtime.
Ain't no time like Showtime, baby.
I'm trying to tell you, shorty, get yup me.
Yup, I'm back. Showtime. Watch on free. Yup, I'm strapped. Don't try. No, these birds love me. Got me on that ring.
My man, Ron, it's here, Ron. It's
clean. Check his watch. Yup, man, I'm Showtime. Better yet, ST. That's Bonneville. Sweet candy paint. Bubble kush. Dang, that shit stank. 812.
Me being 16, 17 years old, it was hard. It was hard. Knowing that, you know, I gotta deal with this the rest of my life. My mom coming down there, you know, I knew about the situation, but, you know, mom coming down there, you know, disappointed basically. You know, from the time he was born to the time he died, you know, it wasn't easy for him. Living there, Chris was living here, living there, and then eventually he came to stay with me and my mom. You know, maybe when I was like 20. So Chris might have been 4 or 5 years old at the time. And as far as that, the fight for him started since he was born, as far as I'm concerned, because he wasn't in a stable home until years later. Even after he came and stayed with me years later, you know, I never had sole custody of Chris. So, you know, his mom come back and take Chris, you know, and then Chris stayed there for a little while, and then, you know, then after that she had other kids, and then she got overwhelmed with that, then he'd come back and stay with me. And so, with that being said, you know, I mean, you know, I never dealt with that being a kid, but he had to survive. You know, he was learning, so I guess he was learning how to survive right then and there, basically.
Well, Chris kind of lived with us about 3, and I just remember him being this little fat, chubby kid, and how he used to just love to run around and play and laugh. And you know, I had a daughter at that time. She had to be, when he came to live with us, he had to have been about 8, 9. She had to have been like 3, somewhere in that age bracket. And they used to play together a lot and do stuff, run around, just running back, just a normal little happy-go-lucky kid. When he was, okay, let me go from 8th grade. You know, he was this chubby kid. Then somewhere along there, he started liking girls, and he got into trying to get healthy and slim and working out and stuff. And then he went, and when he got to Hyde Park, he was, I guess he had to pick a major or something, and was into video and shooting it. I guess that's what led to him wanting to rap and stuff like that, because he was into music. And I think they did a segment on WKKC, I think that's 89.3 at the time, at Kennedy King College. They was doing a little skit somewhere in there. But he never went to, like I say, he never went to college, but he just was, He was just a well-determined child to just make something. He was gonna do something for himself to make it big.
I can't say he really liked school because I could say he graduated from school, but I can't say he really liked school because, you know, it's almost like, you know, like being a foster kid. You go from one school to the next school, to the next school, to the next school. So, before he came and lived with me, before he actually came, because he stayed, like I say, when he was younger, about maybe 5, 6, he stayed with me. Then mom took him away 2 or 3 years, but Chris had probably, he ended up graduating, living in, you know, this household, but he probably been to 3 or 4 schools before he was 6th grade. You know, so, you know, you meet a set of friends, okay, they gone. Set of friends, they gone, you know. So when he got into, I think the only thing he did like about school was, you know, because he always talked about he wanted to be a news reporter, journalism, you know. But other than that, I mean, I put it like this, he did what he had to do as far as school, but did he like it? You know, I can't say what he did, but he did. I guess just as far as life, he did what he had to do.
I met his fat ass 6th grade, walking home from school. He used to be like the fake bully. I had just moved around there, around the O. You know, from where I'm from, I was a bully. I used to kick everybody out. So, you know, met him 6th grade. We had a little fight. Say about 8th grade, we started getting cool. Yeah, pretty much after that, that was all she wrote.
A show in 2002, coming from school, messing around, fighting in the neighborhood.
When I first met Chris, I was 16. It was July 17, 2003. I think I was in like 11th grade or 10th grade going into 11th grade. And we was it was one of the boys' birthday party around the corner. And I was picking up my little cousins from the party. Chris was standing in the alley. And I was I had just got, I didn't even have my license, I had a permit. My cousin girlfriend was driving. And that's how me and Chris met. I ended up spilling some pop all over the front seat of the car and I asked him for a napkin. He gave me his number and I ain't never talked to him for like 3 or 4 weeks. And one day, the boy in the party was Juwan. He called my cousin's phone, like, where your cousin at? Put her on the phone. When I got on the phone, it was Chris. And I'm like, who is this? He like, this Chris. I'm like, who? He like, this your husband. And ever since then, that's what happened.
You know, I met Chris, man, really through Diesel. He was down at the studio on 47 where I used to be at. This probably was like 2004, 4 or 5, maybe 6, around in that bracket of time. Met him down in the studio working, you know what I'm saying? And we was just, we jailed, man. You know what I'm saying? I was supposed to come down there, play some beats for him or whatever. Him, Diesel, all of us was low-key together, you know what I'm saying? We was all just doing music, man. And that's how I met him, through Diesel, man.
I met Show on the block, 91st and Marshfield. We both from the same hood. I met him in like 2006 through a couple of other guys or whatnot.
Cool, funny, always laughing. You just knew off the back, he was a loyal dude, a good dude. Somebody you want to be around.
Oh, man, great person. He's one of them people that you can always call for anything, no matter what kind of problems you had. If he messed with you, like he was one of these guys, like it was non-stop love. Like it wasn't nothing he wouldn't do for the people that he loved, for real.
Realist.
Yeah.
Pretty much say was on his man, outspoken.
Yeah.
But, you know, to the average person, they couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
You had to be like actually like one us to put up with what we did. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just a lot of stuff that we did a lot of people couldn't do. You know, from the player shit to the gangster shit to the just overall period. We had our own language. You know, that's pretty much what it was.
Loyal dude from that point on.
He used to act the fool. He wanna fall in the middle of the grocery store. He always liked to make everybody laugh, the center of attention. One day he came to my grandmother's house. I remember it was like New Year's Eve. He had some apple cider. He acting like he was drunk, passing out. He always funny, center of attention everywhere we went.
You know, he always into his appearance. You know, his haircut always had to be right, and I just never seen nobody with the thick, coarse hair like Chris had, and the thick eyebrow. So, I mean, then, you know, his appearance. His appearance was everything. Everything had to match, from the hat to the shirt to the shoes to the pants to the shoes to the socks, the underwear, everything just had to match. I mean, I just never seen nobody like him. But he just always, he was into his appearance and the way he looked.
Well, I just be having my hands in so much other shit.
And guess what? This an off day.
Man,
check them out.
Motherfuckers probably
slipped and dipped.
You know what I'm saying? That oh yeah, I keep a couple diamonds.
No, let me zoom in on the diamonds.
I keep a few diamonds, you know what I'm talking about?
And that ain't from the local mall.
Oh no, this real shit. All that shit, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the screwback shit. If it ain't screwback, it ain't real. These ain't even screwbacks, man. 2 carats in my ear. Stop playing with me. I ain't gonna do this for a living. On sale, my shit was probably more than what your shit cost when they got your ass. Cause they saw you coming. You know what I'm talking about?
No, the dumbest, funniest shit we did when we all got locked up at the same time.
Oh man, that's about top 2. That's top 2 though. That's top 2 on 111, right? Yeah, that's top 2.
What happened that day?
We had a bullshit show that we didn't go to, so we ended up standing around him and Tia Hood, and
we had one of the guys. Seen this nigga on the bus stop sleep, like 3 o'clock in the morning. You know how like they got them big ass McDonald's cups.
Yeah.
Filled that shit up.
Yeah.
Got out, whacked him with it. Boom. We hop back in the car, dude, chasing the car and shit. Next thing you know, we gonna Ashland. We see this nigga. So these run up on him, slapping him with a towel and shit. So we just started going in.
And
police right
literally around the corner, Mike us real quick, nigga. And we was just in the funniest shit came in. When we was locked up, we knew we was getting out in the morning. But it was just a simple fact of us being up in there just as in there. We did it together.
Shit wasn't funny to me.
Not in there.
That shit pissed me off.
It was cold as fuck. It was cold as fuck.
The biggest thing that I remember is just talking like men. You know, that's the biggest thing. Just talking like men. You know. Because, you know, once he got 21, then especially once he had my grandbaby, Nyla, you know, things started falling into place. What I was, that I was taught, that I taught him.
Oh yeah, when we first found out,
my daddy thought that he thought that my mom was having a baby.
When he first found out, he acted a fool. He was cold and hot. He like, oh my God, we too young. We need to do stuff. This gonna ruin our life. He asked the lady, we just told ultrasound. He said, how long have you been certified to do this kind of stuff? Because I know it's a boy. She like, no sir, I'm sorry, but this is a girl. His first expression was like, God, I do not want to do it. The first day Nyla was born, I had to end up, Nyla was a preemie, she was 3 pounds. I had to end up having like an emergency C-section. The first thing, I'm like, he's the first person that even seen her. I said, Chris, my baby look like, he said, just like me with a head full of hair. I started crying. The next day after Nyla was born, Chris ended up getting pulled over. The police impounded the car. And he called me from the police station crying. Like, they won't let me out of here. I want my daughter, acting a fool. And I didn't even know who it was because he was just crying as soon as I answered the phone. I'm like, what? Next thing I know, probably like 2 in the morning, they called me from the hospital security, like, it's a man out here trying to get in the nursery. He said he the child's father, but he don't got no bracelet. And I had to go out there. And I'm like, oh, he fine. Chris was in the nursery from like 2 in the morning to about 8 in the morning. He came back in the room. I think he held my baby all night. My baby came home from the hospital. He stayed up with her at night. He changed Pampers. I didn't do nothing. Nothing. I think when Chris died, she used to cry for his friends more than she used to cry for me because she was so used to being with him and them. So, I already know. The first time I seen Chris and Nyla together, it was over. It was over for me. She stole me.
Oh, he was an A1 family man. A1. And treat his daughter like a queen and his BM like a queen. Like the queens that they was.
Yeah, when it came to Nyla, anything my baby wanted, he let her have. Anything. Like, I ain't had no issues when it came to Nyla.
I think that came and played in high school because pretty much all his friends that he was really dealing with was from high school.
Honestly, when he been doing it, but when he met me and he seen like, damn, my man's going hard on it. Shit, I might as well go hard on this right here for me. And the nigga was awesome with the music though. He done did a lot of shit for me. Niggas don't even know little hooks and little words and all type of shit. So maybe about senior year or when we graduated from Hap Park, he really was taking it like, alright, for sure, I'm finna do it.
I had been doing music, messing around, but Showtyme started messing with Diesel in school, and we all met up with Chase one day. They was making their music, so we all just got into it with making music together.
It was just our swag together, man. We all jailed together, you know what I'm saying? We all bounced off each other, you know what I'm saying? It was just all real, it was just a real effect, you know what I'm saying? That's just what made the music fun and how it came out. That's why it sound like how it sound, you know?
I had been doing music already when I met him. And I actually didn't even know Show did music until like a year or two after I met him, because he used to, like, he was running with Diesel now, Deuce Gang. They had a group called Deuce Gang that formed from Hyde Park, I think. And, he was going to school then. I really didn't know he did music. Like, when we got together, it was just straight hood stuff. You know what I'm saying? We just kicked it on that level. But he started doing music with me in like 2008, 2007, 2008, and just I was always doing music though. So that's what it was.
Chris, ever since I knew him, he was always into music. Like, his mother's side of the family, they real musical. Like, Chris know how to play the piano. A lot of people didn't know that he know how to play the piano. He know how to sing. So for him, I think music, dance. So I think for him, music was just always a part of that. But I think what really made him start, and I don't even think he was just even on no serious stuff when it came to music. What made him do that is, you know, being around like Diesel and all his friends, they was all rapping, and he like, man, they you know they could do it, I could do it too. It really just on some fun stuff with his friends. So I think that was just a way for him to express how he felt.
Yeah, you know, I mean, everybody got a story to tell. So I guess that was his way of telling his story. You know, and that was, you know, that was his way of freeing himself from the pain he was going through.
It's been a while, so I'm back out on the prowl. I think you niggas funny, I see you, I crack a smile. Cause most you niggas greet me with open arms and smiles. When I know that you don't like me, I leave you talking down. I greet them with a pound, and I don't shake hands. Let them know I'm watching them, and that you ain't my mans. And it ain't all love, just because you know my mans. Got the hammer time on me, if it crack, we can dance. It's funny when you broke, you the realest in the hood. But when you getting money, you forgot mad about the hood. The shit is hysterical. I'm trying to make a miracle and how my daughter happy playing on her own merry-go. Give my mama a crib, pay up all the bills, leave everybody just a little something in the wheel. I'm trying to do it big, couple $1 million deal, but for now it's only dreams till I wake up and it's real, for real.
That's why I need you. I gotta have you. Baby, just stick with me, I swear. Even when this rough, I'll always be there. Our love is forever.
717, match made in heaven. Party on the P, had the whole hood yelling.
I remember when Chris made the song. Matter of fact, he was sitting next to me when he wrote the song, but he wouldn't let me look at it. So I'm like, what you doing? He's like, I'm gonna write you a song. And I'm thinking he lying. I'm like, yeah, okay. And at the time, I was probably like 5 months pregnant with Nyla. And he's like, I'm gonna write you a song. So I'm like, okay, I saw him writing. Maybe like 2 or 3 days later, he played it for me while we was in the car, and I heard it. And I think it was just me and him in the car. When I first heard it, I cried. I'm like, oh my God, that was so sweet. That's like one of the sweetest things he ever did.
I remember one winter, I wasn't whipping at all. You had a 93 Nissan, we been through it all. Now look, you riding around new 07, tinted up, kitted out, 2-tone leather. I'm sunroof, leather gut, supercharged engine. 412s knocking, so the laws I'm bending. We on top of the world now, everything's gravy. In June 08, you'll be having my baby. That's crazy.
No matter how far apart we are, you'll always be close to my heart. When I'm not with you, I'm missing you like crazy. I love you, and you'll always be my baby.
The fight for him started since he was born, as far as I'm concerned, because he wasn't in a stable home until years later. Even after he came and stayed with me years later, you know, I never had sole custody of Chris. So, you know, his mom come back and take Chris, you know, and then Chris stayed there for a little while, and then, you know, then after that she had other kids, and then she got overwhelmed with that, then he'd come back and stay with me. And so, with that being said, you know, you know, I never dealt with that being a kid, but he had to survive. You know, he was learning, so I guess he was learning how to survive right then and there, basically.
You know, it's just like a lot of stuff, I feel like a lot of stuff that Chris went through, he blamed on his mother. It might not necessarily been her fault, but it's just a lot of stuff that he, like, I remember on Nyla's first birthday, the party, there was so many people at Chris' grandmother's house. His mother didn't show up. And I kept asking him, like, Chris, where your mother? Where your mother? Everybody kept asking him. He just brushed it off, like, oh, I don't know. And then he pulled me to the side, like, my mama not coming. And when I, at the end of the night, I heard Grandma Crump ask him, Chris, where's your mama? And he just flipped out, started screaming, crying, like, my mama not coming. She said that, my yet not my daddy, so she not want to come over here. So that was like after that, sorry. But after that point in Chris' life, after his mother did that, I think he never looked at her the same, and never really looked at life in general the same after that.
Yeah, there's some lot of shit I ain't know until like almost about that time he was getting ready.
Really, that year, you know, because he died at the beginning. It was the last year. Yeah,
once he made that song,
That song, yeah. That was that song.
He had a real fucked up childhood.
Yeah. I've never seen that nigga cry in 10 years. I seen him cry when I actually recorded that song. We was all in the studio, and I seen the nigga cry, so I knew the shit was deep.
Not one time did they take away my mother, so the beatings kept coming and I only got tougher. Even though it hurt, I became a stronger man. Trust me on watch all shit, it got me through this hard. For real.
Man, you know I love you, You might not ever hear this song, man. Cause that shit'll break your heart, and I know it will, cause it's fucking ass up. Xavier Indigo, I love y'all to death. I'm crying on the track for real. This ain't no bullshit, nigga. This shit real life. So when you bitches be out here asking me why I don't got no heart, that's why I ain't got no heart. And this Showtime talking to you. No, matter of fact, it's Chris talking to you. And that's my story.
Everything he had an effect on me mentally, spiritually, G. Just, that was my man's, man. That was my man's right there. And shit, that shit hurt. That shit hurt. I ain't gonna cry on the camera, nigga. You ain't gotta look at me. But that shit hurt a nigga, though. It hurt a nigga, though. When I got that call, I never forget that call from Mason Mama. She was the first person to call me. And then Tanisa called me. And then I talked to this nigga.
And I had got off work. I worked 3 to 11 that day. Nyla was at Chris' grandmother's house. So when I came in, I was complaining because he didn't go pick her up and she had to go to school the next day. And he was like, you know what, don't worry about it. She'll get to school. I'll go take her in the morning. Don't worry. So I think, matter of fact, me and Chris had an argument. And then he was like, man, you know what, babe, my chest hurt. So I said, you want to go to the hospital? And he was like, no, I just want to lay down. I'm good. So I said, okay. And I remember him saying, like, feel my chest. And when I felt his chest, his heart was beating so fast. And I said, you sure you don't want to go to the hospital? He said, no, I just want to lay down. So we were just talking about regular stuff. And then out the blue, he said, Tanisa, I think I'm about to die. And I'm like, why would you say something like that? You know, when you have a conversation with somebody and they say something like that, it don't register to you that it might be true. You just thinking, yeah, okay. So he told me, last thing that Chris said was, make sure you let my daughter know that I love her. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, what you want me to tell your mama? Because, you know, at this point, I'm just thinking he's joking. So I'm like, Chris, oh, so now you don't hear me? And I remember as soon as I said that, he started making a noise. It sounded like, I ain't never heard a noise like that before. But I thought he was having a seizure. So I called 911 on my phone. And in the same time, I called his best friend on his phone. And his best friend, we were living on the 3rd floor at the time. His best friend was living on the 1st floor. So luckily, he was just getting home from work. He wasn't even in his house yet. He was in the parking lot, getting out the car, had just pulled up. So I called him and said, I think Chris having a seizure. I already called the ambulance. Come up here and wait with me. So I had him running upstairs. I hurry up, open the door for him. And at this time, I thought he was having a seizure. But when I got to the hospital, they explained to me that he was going through something called VTEC. It's basically when you're having a heart attack and your heart is suffocating. Like you can't get no oxygen to your heart, so you suffocating. And he was making like a loud noise. So they asked me, they said, you know, I called the ambulance again. And I said, you know, what's taking y'all so long? They asked me, what was he doing? I said, I think he's having a seizure. So they asked me, you know, is he breathing? And I'm so, you know, in shock. I'm like, I don't know if he's breathing or I'm breathing. So they like, okay, ma'am, don't worry. We tried to turn him on his side. He was already on his side. But when I looked at Chris, his eyes was wide open. And it was just nothing. So that's when I called his mother and I called Wanda, his cousin. She didn't answer, so I ended up calling her daughter, Shanice. Told her to wake Wanda, meet me at the hospital. By that time, the ambulance had got there. When they got there, Fresh, you know, directed them to where he was at. And I was in the living room at the time. And I heard Fresh say, is he breathing? And as soon as Fresh said, is he breathing, I heard the paramedic say, not right now, but don't worry about it, we got it. So they took him out, and it was January 21st, so it was cold, it was snow on the ground. They took him out, he didn't have on nothing, some boxes and a t-shirt, and he wasn't responding when they took him out. So I hopped in my car, I beat the ambulance to the hospital, popped my tire on the way, and wasn't nobody at the hospital with me at that point. And then I think Fresh came behind me. Wanda, Shanice, and Maya came next. And so I kept asking the doctor, like, what's going on? I think they worked on him for about 2 hours. And then the doctor, he came to me and he said, you know, I tried everything I can do, but I need for you, he asked me, he said, do y'all have any kids? And I said, yes, we have a daughter. And he said, what I need for you to do is take your daughter and get her checked out for Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome because it is hereditary. He was like, I'm sorry, but I couldn't save his life, but I want to save your daughter's life. And at that point, As soon as he said that, Chris' mother walked through the door. And I was like, well, could you let her know? Because I can't talk to her right now. And I walked outside to get some air and call my mother. As soon as I walked outside, I heard Chris' mother screaming to the top of her lungs, running up and down the hospital, tearing the hospital up. And see, by that time, my Yet and Wanda had showed up. And the first thing Wanda said is like, what's going on, Tanisha? And I'm like, Wanda, Chris did. And she's like, what? And I said, she said, Tanisha, you lying. I said, no, Wanda, Chris did. At this time, I think it was somebody's birthday. Because all his friends was out. So they all come into the hospital like carloads of people coming to the hospital.
Yeah. And that was the longest ride.
Yeah, I ain't go. I couldn't go. I commend T.
To a hospital.
I couldn't go. And you about what, 10 minutes away from him, weren't you?
Just left the club.
I just left the club myself. I sure did.
It was
I sure did.
Kiki's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Juju in the car. Matter of fact, before we got to the car, me and Juju, we out in the club. We get a call talking about he got rushed to the hospital. He had like a seizure.
Yeah.
And we was laughing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because that's the type of shit we do. Like, y'all probably thinking it's crew, but
like his goof ass had a seizure.
You know.
Lame ass nigga. Woo. Then they call us back like, man, that nigga dead. We like, hell no.
I'd rather see him in trick.
Yeah. After that.
Yeah.
You know.
Real talk.
Shit was real. I seen him laying on that bed. I knew it was real.
Yeah.
And I remember when I came back in the hospital, Ann was laying on the hospital floor, crying, and Juju was in another room by himself, crying. Travell was just quiet, and I couldn't find Fresh nowhere. So they said, you know, if y'all want to see him before the medical examiner's office come, then y'all can. So at that point, it was just surreal. I just couldn't believe that Chris did. I'm still thinking like, no, you know, he'll be all right. It's just, it probably wasn't until the actual, when we went to plan the funeral that I realized that Chris was dead. We went to the funeral home to make the funeral arrangements. It's so crazy because as we was coming out, they was bringing Chris' body in from the autopsy. Because I guess, you know, by him being young, 23, and having a heart attack, they did an autopsy to determine, you know, the actual cause of death, which was Wilcoxon-White syndrome. And so his mother said, can I see my baby? And I said, you don't want to see him like that. He just had an autopsy. You know, I told them, like, don't let her see him. But they felt sorry for her. They let her see Chris. And when they pulled that sheet back, it was like they had cut the whole top of his head off, blood everywhere. And I never forget that for the rest of my life. After that, when I seen that, that's when I realized, like, okay, Chris dead. It's okay, cool. I remember.
No, I tried to because I thought he was asleep.
Think I'm forget. I remember at the funeral, it was so many people that they wouldn't even let people in anymore. They couldn't even sit down. Everybody, that's everybody. I remember I saw the mail lady and I saw her Chris dad. She cried like a baby. She been delivering mail over here since he was a kid. Crying like a baby. Everybody loved Chris. That was crazy. It's still to this day, it's hard to, you know, think that he really did. You see somebody one day and then the next day. Especially when you spend so much of your life with somebody and you plan something with somebody and then just, you know, be gone. It's hard, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
The impact bro made on Earth was far beyond anything anybody could imagine. Seriously, just the little juice he had, it was crazy. That nigga really thought like a 50-year-old man at 21, 22, 23. He got out of here at what, kid, 23? 23, wasn't it? Yeah, 23. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's how I met, bro. And shit, we clicked. I swear, from 01 till now, till forever. That's my man.
Damn, you know I ain't know you met him in 2001.
Freshman year.
That's
That's
crazy.
when I
So
met
you is a little young. My bad, man. My youngest boy, I forget.
Goof, man. Yeah, man. I miss my nigga though, man. Y'all gotta know, rest in peace, bro. Ball in paradise. VIP. I know you up there watching over us, go through our struggles and our triumphs.
The loyalty and the brotherhood he had. Like, I ain't know Chase, I ain't know Diesel, I ain't know Mason or Fresh before me and Showtime. The way he can bring a whole crowd of people who don't know each other together and everybody be cool and move on as brothers, that's something that'll keep you going. I'd have had a 60-second show. Might be a chick going in 60 seconds, might knock you out in 60 seconds, you know what I'm saying? Anything
Finesse
can
your
happen in
ass real
60
quick.
seconds.
It's 60 seconds. Y'all probably wondering what that means. We'll tell y'all in a minute when we get the close-up shit. Gone in 60 seconds. That's how quick it take to steal your bra, man. 60 seconds, like Nicolas Cage. For real.
Everything.
For real.
Knowing that he watching me, knowing that he right there with me, he can see what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that his drive is around. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that, keep his legacy on. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Just my everyday life. I'm gonna keep doing the same thing I was doing when he was here. Of course, you grow and you change. When you get older, your whole mentality change. But just me as a person gonna stay the same. I'm always gonna be the same person. I'm always gonna be real. I'm always gonna speak my mind. That's what we always did with each other, and that's what I'm gonna do to everybody else. From Juju on down, you know what I'm saying? We all act the same way, but we different. Like if you see people that know us, everybody always say y'all act just alike, or y'all do this just alike. That's because when you come around, like we all together, shit, we the same person, just different bodies.
Oh man, you just gotta keep grinding. He was one of them people that wouldn't stop for nobody. We all had our problems with the streets, with family, you know, we all had kids in young ages. And we was just the people that we just never let anything stop us because we had each other. And we was always there for each other and just continue to be there for my friends when they need me, like he would have been, and just keep his name alive by doing positive stuff.
Well, for one, my grandbaby. My grandbaby is one of my motivations, you know, and the will that my son had as far as, you know, just the fight, you know, no matter what you go through, you know, no matter how much pain you have, and no matter what, you know, I mean, even though he sit up here and suffered a lot of pain through his family, he still loved his family. You know what I'm saying? I mean, from myself to his mom, you know. And when you got a person who's been through the struggle, I mean that, and still got people, me doing this interview today, you can still got people who sit up here and, you know, love you, and, you know, just to sit up here and hear a story about you. I mean, that's motivation itself. You know, and that, with that being said, is, you know, my son, I ain't gonna lie, I miss my son. I think about him every day. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I know he sit up here, he touched a lot of people, touched a lot of lives, you know, and I thank God for that. I thank God for him even being my son. You know, I mean, everybody love the kid, you know what I'm saying, but it's a lot of people who don't. And that right there, I mean, he was a good fella, he tried.
That little girl, she is awesome because she gonna make you remember or not forget her father. You know, it's something she gonna do or say, and for her to be so young when he passed, and when she's 5 or 6 now, oh my God, that little girl acts just like him. just like him. I mean, look like him, talk like him, act like him. I mean, even down to eating her food. How he used to pick food up with his fingers. These 2 fingers. The other 3 ain't gonna get dirty. But just these 2. She eat the same way. The same exact way. So, then like at Christmas time, you know, I used to cook a ham for him. The only thing he wanted was the ham, the macaroni and cheese, and he gonna put the glaze over the macaroni and cheese. Do you not know that little girl the same way? I don't believe she ever seen him do it, but she does the same thing. One year I cooked the ham. This nut climbed up on the kitchen table and ate the whole ham. I said, "You gonna be sick just like your daddy." Her daddy did the same thing. Sat there, ate the whole ham and got sick. She knows she gonna be the same way. But yeah, his memory lives through her. And the little things that she does to, you know, make you know that he's still here with us.
He is truly, truly missed. He was the joy of our life here at 1631 West 93rd Street. And so that's the most I like to say for now.
Ever since I met Chris, he been like my brother, my father, my boyfriend, my son, everything. Like we just grew up together. So for Chris not to be here, it's crazy. Even like for my mother felt like she lost a son. Like she probably took it worse than I did. So it's just, I remember after a couple months after Chris' dad, I seen one of his friends that I didn't even really know, I had never met before. And he was like, you know, I know you, Chris, baby mother, and he used to talk about you. And I remember that he told me, he was like, Chris told me if anything ever happened to him, that his daughter would be good because he knew you would take care of his daughter. And that made me feel, you know, like all the times when you playing something, like when me and Chris used to playing stuff, and I say, well, we could do this or we could do that. He used to always say, make sure you able to do stuff on your own because I'm not going to always be here. And I'll be saying, well, where you going to go? Because I ain't doing this by myself. But when people tell you stuff like that, you have to listen. I remember maybe like a month or 2 before Chris' dad, a woman came up to him randomly and gave him a card that said, don't die stupid. And she said, told him, like, I'm giving you this for a reason. Follow suit. And I think probably like that changed a lot of stuff too. Like after, you know, me, like Chris' mother and whole incident with her, me and Chris went through a long, like, you know, like a rough patch. But like 3 months before he died, me and Chris was closer than we ever was. And I think it's just because sometimes, you know, people be knowing when it's their time. I think the day before Chris died, he bought my daughter 2 birds. He told Aunt G, I want you to sing at my funeral. He told, you know, different people, different things that he wanted done. Like he told me, you know what, give my watch to my daughter because I want her to remember me. And I'm like, my baby don't want that watch. But now that I'm looking back on it, everything for a reason. At the time, you don't understand, but as time progresses, you see that everything somebody do, you gotta mean it.